In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Law of New Jersey, notice of this March 9th, 2026 meeting of the Millburn Township Board of Education was posted electronically on the district website and provided on January 12th, 2026 by sending notices to the Millburn Short Hills Item, the Star Ledger, the Millburn Short Hills Independent Press, and the Township Clerk, along with posting at the Ed Center. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. May I have a motion and a second to approve the following BOE minutes? Mr. Casson, Mr. Farashudin, any discussion? Great. Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Ms. Wong,
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Bigman,
Yes.
Mr. Casson,
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin,
Yes.
Ms. Shavani,
Yes.
Ms. Speltz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Dr. Diskin, would you please introduce our presenters for tonight?
Sure, happy to. In line with our District Goal 3, Ms. Jennifer Soa, our Assistant Superintendent of Student Support and Special Services, is going to introduce two of our speakers from the elementary principals, Kristen Muller and Carrie Emanuelides. And they're going to present tonight all the great work that both the administration and the teachers have done to implement the WIN program. And the WIN program stands for What I Need, WIN. And it gives students the opportunity and teachers the opportunity to work in small group sessions with students based upon their profile and based upon data. So we welcome Jen. I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Check.
Okay, I'll start again. Thank you. We are excited tonight to talk a little bit about the district goal of establishing a WIN period at the elementary level. When Catherine Alvarez and I spoke back in November to the Board of Education, we hinted a little bit about the WIN period when we went through our overview of some of the student supports that we have put in place. So I'm very excited to have two elementary principals here to talk about the great WIN work that's been going on in the buildings. We have Kristen Muller from Wyoming and Carrie Emanuelides from Glenwood. And I'm going to turn it over to them right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Board of Education, as well as members of the community. Both Mrs. Emanuelides and I are here and excited to be able to share an overview of what's been going on through the Millburn schools at the elementary level with the WIN period. We have a lot of exciting things to share, so I hope you enjoy. We're just going to keep bouncing back and forth.
Good evening, everyone. So really, just to put it simply, the WIN period, or what I need, is really a dedicated block of time. And it is a dedicated block of time to support students through intervention and also enrichment work. During this time, students are engaged in sessions around the classroom, whether it's through stations or other activities that are really specifically geared towards the needs of the student that have been identified through various ways. And we'll share a little bit more about that.
WIN comes from the What I Need period, which really comes from New Jersey's tier systems of support. So up here is a diagram that shows you what it looks like as far as the different tiers that we talk about when we're working with our learners. It starts off with tier 1, which is effective differentiation in the classroom. And so what that would look like is it's a way for us to work with our individual students, allowing to provide for targeted and intensive support in the classroom. If it comes out that a student, through going through our screeners that we currently have in place, might need a little extra targeted intervention, they would fall under Tier 2 and Tier 3, which are remedial interventions for those who need that little extra boost of help. And then in Tier 2 and Tier 3, there's also enrichment for students who are ready to have more intensive challenges. So it starts out in the middle with Tier 1, and then it moves on to Tier 2 and 3, both for those students who need support as well as extra challenge.
So part of the work that we felt was important was really to clearly define what WIN is versus what it is not. So really simply put, what WIN is targeted support for students, and it is data-driven. So it is data-driven because it needs to match the needs of students. It's flexible, and really one of the most important parts is that it's also evolving. And so WIN in the very early part of the year can look very different than WIN in the middle of the year and even the end of the year. And we also have on there that it is inclusive of SEL supports, which could look like support from a guidance counselor or another professional in that capacity. WIN is not simply free time or unstructured time in the classroom. It is not also a time for new instruction or really whole class instruction. And we also wanted to make a point that it's not meant to be rigid. It really is meant to be flexible and evolving throughout the year.
So there's 3 essential components that make WIN successful. First, all instruction is tied to personalized, targeted learning goals. Second, grouping is fluid. It's based on individual data from each student, the teacher input that they might have, and then their classroom performance. Also, this period allows us to provide supplemental services that in the past the student might have been pulled out at different periods of the day, but now at this time we can provide things such as speech, occupational therapy, or ELL support during the WIN period with minimal interruption to the core class time, which keeps students present for their primary lessons.
So a key element is professional development. And so our professional development began over the summer with principals having conversations, receiving training, and really also having time to look at our schedules and how we could accommodate a WIN period and build it into our schedule if it was not already there. And then in our opening faculty meetings to our staff, on the opening days, principals introduced WIN to their staff members. And then really throughout the year, those conversations have been ongoing, whether it's in the form of faculty meetings. Some of our teachers have chosen to focus their professional learning communities or their PLC time focused on WIN initiatives as well. So those have really been ongoing. And then at one of our most recent professional developments, all of our elementary staff did participate in a session that was focused on differentiation. And one of the goals was to support WIN and to also help staff to collaborate with grade level colleagues and to support one another.
So the scheduling of WIN was the next step that we needed to take. And this meant that each WIN session, we were looking at scheduling it to last 30 to 40 minutes. The goal was to provide reinforcement and enrichment around those specific goals identified by teachers and students. So in practice, this looks like strategy groups, partner games. It could look like choice board activities or self-designed projects that the students are working on. And then this takes place with their homeroom teacher. It could also take place with a special education teacher or an interventionist, strategies intervention teachers, or then of course another teacher on the grade level if they're doing something very similar.
So just to add on a little bit to the structure, so each of the buildings did look at their schedules, and we do have a dedicated WIN block across all grade levels. Now, where possible, grade levels were able to schedule a common WIN time, which does allow for a little bit more flexibility, especially when it comes to an interventionist either pushing in or pulling out perhaps a small group of third graders or second graders. But that was done where possible. If it was not a common grade level block of time every day, every single teacher does have a dedicated amount of time. I know we shared earlier that it was 30 to 40 minutes. Obviously, that's also a little bit flexible. Some periods were 20 minutes, and most were 30 or 40 minutes. Oh, something to note as well is that at Washington School, they were able to create a dedicated win time across the building, a little unique to their schedule.
So now that you understand the why and the when, let's look at how it actually pans out. And this is how the teachers plan using data for the win.
So earlier we had shared that one of the differences with WIN is that it is data-driven. And so because it's a data-driven process, we use various data points to make decisions. So teachers begin by reviewing screenings and also intervention reports to then make decisions about how to group students. We do this in both language arts and in math. They are then able to group students flexibly to really meet the needs of those learners. We look at benchmark data. We also look at the needs of multilingual learners, and we create targeted plans to support them.
Of course, this is not a one and done process. It does continue throughout the year, so it is new and it's implemented in our schedules all the way from the beginning of the start of the school year all the way through June. It is ongoing throughout the school year, and teachers consistently will be reviewing individual student data and monitoring progress to see where the children are at. This is how we improve teaching practices, by taking a look at typical data that the students are performing on their assessments, and then making sure we're aligning our instruction to meet those needs. We continue to create new resources for all of our learners, and then of course meet regularly with our building data teams. So those encompass a lot of different faculty members, principal all the way down to assistant principal, also people from the child study team, strategies teachers, classroom teachers, and these are all the people who come together to dissect the data that's going on so we can track how students are doing and then come up with learning goals specific for their needs. And again, it's really to focus on every child's individual growth.
Okay, so this is a little bit of our win in action. So really, when we look at our kindergarten through second grade students, win time is focused on really building strong foundational skills. So as we said earlier, we do analyze benchmark data, but we also use classroom observations, classroom performance, and teacher expertise. So for example, we use our Imagine Plus and our FastBridge data to group students flexibly based on their needs. And students who may be at benchmark may be working on enrichment or extension tasks, while students that are below benchmark may be receiving more targeted support in those areas. The key here is that it is short, it's targeted, and it's skill specific. In literacy, for our youngest learners, this may mean explicit phonemic awareness instruction, phonics, sight word automaticity. In math, we target number sense, counting accuracy, understanding addition and subtraction conceptually, not just the memorization of facts. And as we had said earlier, groups are fluid. So really what we chose to highlight here in our images that you can see is a little bit of how teachers are organizing their classrooms and organizing their centers. So you can see a couple of different ways that teachers group students, whether it's through pictures or through names, colors. There are other examples as well of timers that are meant to help with time management. Really finding a balance in the classroom, I think, is key when it comes to the win period. And the classroom management of the win period is really critical to its success. You will also see flexible seating environments. You'll see students working hands-on. And you will also see students grouped in various ways. You see some small group instruction, you see some partner work, you see some instruction happening directly with the teacher, more direct instruction, as well as independent learning.
And then, of course, the same carries over in grades 3 through 5. So again, the shift here is from foundational skills to the actual acquisition of strategic application. So now students are starting to be able to apply what they've been taking from the younger grades and bring it more up to the upper grades. We analyze benchmark data as well here in grades 3 through 5, but we also use classroom performance and teacher expertise to be able to determine where students need to be to help them be successful and to continue on with their learning. For example, we would use screeners and benchmarks, including Linkit and FastBridge, data to group the students flexibly and then with their specific need. In literacy, the emphasis is to move toward more comprehension, text structures, vocabulary, and then a deeper analysis of text. And then in math, we focus on multi-step problem solving. The word problems do get a little bit more challenging, obviously, in 3rd through 5th, so that's something that they're taking a look at, as well as fractions, operations, and automaticity, especially as we identify that through the A-Math and the CBM math from screener data. Students begin to understand their own data and they set goals themselves, so that can project what they want to learn from their own learning and then be able to see their success. So they're tracking their goals and monitoring. WIN becomes a time for both intervention and enrichment, as we mentioned before, ensuring that each of the students are growing and they are succeeding in the different subject areas that they find that they need support in, as well as where their teachers need support. And then what we've highlighted here are some other examples. You can see there is some small group going on. Students are on both, they would be on the internet with the computers, but also a lot of actual literacy books in front of them. So it's not just a sit in front of a computer, but it's getting the opportunity to have a full exposure to all different forms of medium. And then of course they also run it the same way with, like, on the smartboard, you would see the grouping of students depending on where their need is, and that changes throughout the week because again, it's not just a one-time event, it happens throughout the week. And then you can see some different samples of what a menu might look like, where students are having the opportunity to place choice into what they want to learn during the WIN period, which is really important for students also to take ownership of their learning.
And this last image here we decided to include because we felt like it gave us a little bit of a peek into the minds of our students. You know, there are pieces that data can't really share, and so this is one of those times. And so what we see here is when they were asked to name what they love about their class, it was when we have WIN time. And so we thought that this was really a good example of really what WIN is meant to be. What it does is that it just normalizes students getting what they need. So they don't necessarily see it as, you know, I don't understand something and this is why I'm meeting in this group, or, you know, but rather everyone is just getting what they need when they need it. And so we felt like that really kind of summarized really the whole intent of what WIN is meant to do in our classrooms. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. That was a phenomenal presentation, and I really enjoyed hearing about all of the creativity and everything else that went into making this happen. And it really sounds like we owe a great debt of thanks to all of our teachers who have worked really hard to implement all of this in creative and interesting ways to really make it worthwhile. So that's phenomenal. Would anyone else have any questions or comments? Yes, Ms. Wong.
I like the two ideas. Basically, one is the data. I can see the data is multiple dimension. It's not just one, you know, quantitative testing, and also, you know, teachers' inputs, behavior, and also the measure we understand is evolving. So that's I really think that's great. Another comment I would like to add. I like, you know, exactly your comment is let the students, you know instead of like, oh, this is something they can learn, you know, it's instead of like, oh, because I am poor in math, so I have, you know, have to put, you know, to do something practice. So that's perspective. I really like it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board? Great. Thank you again for that really phenomenal presentation. Very much appreciated.
Yes, thank you very much. And I just want to make a note that Carrie and Kristen were here along with Jen, but all of the elementary schools participate in WINS. So shout out to all of their teachers and their administration as well.
Absolutely. So my board president report is next. I'm going to try and keep this not too intense, but it is another big thank you. As I'm sure you're going to see In the calendar, we did resolve the emergency makeup date. I would love to say a huge thank you to the teachers and the MEA and the administrators and the MAA for working with us. While this is nothing, obviously it's not what we would love to have, but we were able to come up with a good solution thanks to all of their input and working with us, and it's very much appreciated. One other topic is the strategic plan is still going forward. It worked out a little bit differently than what was originally envisioned, where we incorporated a lot more people, a lot more voices into the process. I was a little worried starting off because I thought it'd be a little more unwieldy, but I have to say, having seen it, we've had such great contributions from everyone involved. I've heard so many great voices from parents, staff, our phenomenal students who were in there making a difference every single meeting. And it's really been it's been wonderful to see. As you all know, the vision and mission are really aspirational. They're kind of conceptual. They're really our big picture where we would like to be. And then the next step after this is when administration goes through and creates our short, medium, and long-term plans. So while the process is going well underway, we still have a ways to go, and it is just critical in order to make sure that we're all moving in the right direction and headed towards the same goals. And with that, I will close out my report and turn it over to Dr. Diskin.
All right, so thank you, Ms. Speltz. And my first conversation is about the calendar. As a reminder, the board approves calendar includes 2 emergency closing days before the district must begin to make up instructional time in order to meet the New Jersey Department of Education's requirement of 180 days of instruction. On tonight's agenda is the approval to change the calendar to make Monday, March 30th, 2026, an early dismissal schedule for students and 10-month employees. While we recognize that this change falls during spring break, the calendar outlines in advance how additional emergency closures are addressed to ensure compliance with the state instructional requirements. And kindergarten registration is open and will close on April 1st. No April Fools if you leave them behind, so make sure that they register. This is a reminder, again, that incoming students must be registered. Even if you already have other children in the school district, you have to register your kindergartner. Don't assume that they are on the list. You have to put them on that list for kindergarten. I can't stress that enough. So brothers and sisters and everyone out there, if you're listening, help mom and dad remember to put the kindergartner in the school. Okay. And I only employ you to do that because early registration helps us to plan. Late registrations create somewhat of a complex situation. We would love for you to be registered so that we can help prepare for the fall. So help spread the word for families and friends. And then Youth Art Month, as we had talked about last time, was an opportunity. I had a great opportunity to visit the amazing displays at the high school. It was so really uplifting to see all of the students work, and they're so talented in the arts, so congrats to them. And thank you for everyone who joined for our recent fireside chat on science and technology held at the Bauer Center. Director of STEM, Krista Young, Elementary Supervisor Deanna Leslie, and Secondary Supervisor Andrea Knorr shared insights into our district's science and technology programs, including curriculum, student pathways, instructional practices, and the future direction of these important areas. As always, the conversation and thoughtful exchange of ideas made for a meaningful and engaging morning. We truly appreciate the opportunity to connect with members of our community and value the questions and perspectives that help guide these ongoing discussions. We look forward to continuing the conversation at our next fireside chat on April 7th at 1 p.m. at the Bauer Center. Our technology facilitators will serve as guest hosts and will share technology lessons, tips, and tricks for all levels, offering practical ways for families and community members to better understand the support and the use of technology in our schools. Read Across America Week was held March 2 through 4. It was Dr. Seuss's birthday, which promotes literacy and reading throughout with fun activities. The elementary schools participated in exciting events, including read aloud sessions, school-wide drops everything and read, and read aloud times. I was fortunate, as well as many of the other administrators, were invited to elementary schools to serve as guest readers. I had the opportunity to read on Monday at Washington and Wednesday at Glenwood. And I know lots of the other administrators were also invited. So we thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to get out and to read. And anyone who would like us to come and read, even if it's not Read Across America, we would love to do that. So spring musicals, March 6th and 8th and March 13th through 15th, the Millburn Middle School students delivered a truly outstanding performance. Ms. Soa and I had the pleasure of attending opening night, and we're so proud to see the incredible efforts and the enthusiasm of our students, which poured into that performance of Anastasia. Productions like this are a true reflection of the creativity, collaboration, and commitment that thrive in our schools. So sincere thanks to the staff members and advisors whose time, guidance, and hard work made this a wonderful production. And to the entire cast and crew, congratulations on a fantastic show. And coming up this weekend, Millburn High School will present The Addams Family, marking the very first performance in our newly renovated high school auditorium. Our incredibly talented students on stage, in the pit, and behind the scenes have been working hard to bring this production to life. And there could be not be a more fitting way to debut our performance in a refreshed space. After all, if there is any family that knows how to make a dramatic entrance, it's the Addams Family. This performance will take place on Friday and Saturday evening with a Sunday matinee. Tickets are available. There are links to it on the high school website. You will not want to miss the first curtain rising in our beautiful new auditorium. And once again, we wish all those who celebrate a happy and peaceful Eid al-Fitr, and also happy St. Patrick's Day coming up. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Diskin. So we have our board committee reports, and we'll start with program with Mr. Finkelstein.
Yep, thank you. The program committee met once since the last board meeting on March 6th at 2 p.m. Attendees were myself, Mr. Noel Bigman, and Mr. Farashudin as substitute. Staff present were Dr. Diskin and Mr. Connolly. On the agenda, first was professional development. The administration provided the committee with an agenda and schedule for the upcoming March 11th and early release professional development sessions. There was also an update on the spring HIB training by the anti-bullying specialist Bush Law, which is April 14th and the 23rd coming up. Next, the administration provided a preview of the WIN presentation, which we viewed tonight. Next, there was an update on the progress being made for a plan to expand cursive instruction in grades 2 through 5 per the new requirements from the state going into effect for education year 26-27. Next, we got a brief update on the 8th grade parent night for incoming 9th graders, and the administration shared the presentation from Mr. Nixon. The proposal quote for the committee's review on, which is also, I think, on the agenda for approval tonight. Next, the committee and the administration discussed the high school waiver process. The committee and the administration just reviewed a proposed waiver system for level changes in the high school and also discussed potential adjustments to the current level change policy. The program committee recommends board education approval of the HIB training professional development from Bush Law. That's the proposal on tonight's agenda. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For governance, we have Ms. Shivani.
Yes, just very quickly before I go into the report, I just want to also acknowledge that it is International Women's Month. So I really do want to acknowledge the contribution of all the women who make a large part of the teaching community. So thank you for your dedication, knowledge, and the commitment that you bring to the classrooms. It has a lasting impact on the students. Happy Women's Day. All right, moving to the Governance Committee minutes. The Governance Committee met on March 3rd at 5:30 p.m. Board members present were Ms. Abby Spells, Mr. Jeff Casson, Ms. Cynthia Longley-Richards, and myself, Priya Shivani. Administrators present were Dr. Diskin, Mr. Arlington, and Ms. Soa. Staff present were Ms. Terry Hecht, Information Security Outreach Officer. On the agenda, we discussed the calendar conversation, as Ms. Pels reported. Dr. Diskin facilitated a discussion regarding how to address the make-up snow day required after the district exceeded the number of emergency closing days. Several options were proposed, discussed, and carefully considered with the board administrative teams and the MEA leadership. Ultimately, the committee endorsed maintaining consistency with the published school calendar and identified March 30th as the designated make-up day. The committee supports modifying the calendar so that this day is an early release day. Review of student safety policy and regulation review. Ms. Soa reviewed the district's procedures for monitoring student online activity on district-issued devices, including during the day and after school hours, using tools such as Gaggle, GoGuardian, and Say Something P3 Tips platform. The committee also reviewed district policies and protocols aligned with the best practices for student safety. These include a review of our policies related to student suicide prevention, reporting potentially missing or abused children, and cooperation with law enforcement agencies. The committee affirmed that the district's current practices are aligned with the policies and support a proactive approach to student safety. Policies and regulations on tonight's agenda are recommended for an approval as second reading. The committee recommends approval to the full board. Regarding middle school principal search, Mr. Arlington provided an update. The application window has closed, and all 73 applicant materials were reviewed through a paper screening process. Initial screening interviews were conducted with 24 candidates over the past several weeks. 6 candidates will advance to the second round. The process remains on track for recommendation to the Board of Ed in April, allowing the successful candidate to begin around July 2026. Mr. Arlington also reviewed a draft of the personnel report scheduled for presentation and approval tonight. Mr. Arlington provided an update on the development of draft standard operating procedure for the startup clubs and extracurricular activities that are not sponsored by the Board of Education and are not included in Schedule C of MEA collective agreement. A draft of the SOP will be shared with the committee at an upcoming meeting. The committee adjourned at 6:30 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Priya Shivani. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shivani. Finance, Facilities, and Sustainability, Mr. Farashudin.
The Finance, Facilities, and Sustainability Committee met on March 3rd at 7 p.m. Board members present were Brian Lawrence, Noel Bigman, Asaf Farashudin, and Weiwei Wang. The administrators present were Peter Stars and Dr. Diskin. We have 7 things on the agenda, so settle in. Number 1, superintendent topics. There was a discussion. Dr. Diskin asked the committee if they would support the Essex County School Boards Association resolution, quote, protection of students and school communities from civil immigration enforcement activities. Dr. Diskin shared her proposal of making the Give Back Day an early dismissal as well. The recommendation from the committee is to support both the ECSBA resolution, that's the protection from civil immigration, as well as the calendar adjustments that we just discussed. Number 2, project update. The committee was updated on all of the referendum projects that are in closeout phase, with the auditorium project waiting on a door replacement prior to receiving the certificate of occupancy. The paper mill streamback project is hopeful for completion next week with the weather breaking, which it has. Recommendation from the committee supports the approval of the use of allowances and payments application at this board meeting, the March 9th meeting for the projects that will be reviewed later on. The third item, March 9th, BOE business agenda review. The committee reviewed the draft business agenda, which we will be going through later on today, discussing the purchases, renewal of PIP membership for workers' comp insurance, and the cooperative sports agreement with Kearney and North Arlington. The recommendation from the committee is to approve the business agenda action items, which we will go through later on. Number 4, turf project update. The committee was informed of 2 scheduling scenarios dependent on the lead time and state approvals. The committee reviewed the draft of joint responses to the community emails which have been received about environmental concerns with the turf. The recommendation from the committee is to support the joint responses which have been drafted and will be read out. Number 5, revised budget calendar. The interim BA discussed the revised budget calendar as follows. State aid release on March 12th. There is a Finance Committee meeting coming up on March 17th. The approval of the tentative budget is March 23rd, and there is a public hearing on the budget and the budget adoption on May 4th. Again, please make a note of these dates as these are open for, the public hearing for sure is open for a public discussion. The recommendation is none at this time other than to just make everyone aware of the dates. Number 6, budget discussion. The committee reviewed the preliminary budget appropriation, the revenue assumptions, and the need to use the health benefit waiver. The recommendation from the committee is to meet on the 17th after the state aid has been received and to review the proposed balanced budget at that time. Other matters, the interim BA discussed conversation with Paper Mill Playhouse on the use of facilities over the summer and the need for an agreement. Mr. Bigman provided a brief update on the joint facilities meeting that had been held earlier on that day. The recommendation is none at this time. The next meeting will be March 17th, 2026. Respectfully submitted, Asaf Farashudin.
Thank you, Mr. Farashudin. Joint Facilities, Mr. Bigman.
The Joint Facilities Committee met on Tuesday, March 3rd at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Present at the meeting from the Board of Education and School Administration were Peter Stars, Chris Drexel, and Noel Bigman. From the Township representation, there was Chris Myers and Chris Zimmerman and Ben Stoller. And from the Recreation Commission, there were attendees Scott Redler and Chris Drucker. The discussion topics included the Paper Mill Field Erosion Project, where Mr. Stars provided a status update to the completion of the project, which should be shortly after the snow on the ground melts to allow for completion. Most of it's gone. So. The Millburn High School backfields expansion project was discussed. The project timeline was discussed by Mr. Stars, and additional comments regarding a joint response from the Township and School District Administration to the Climate Action Group written communication was addressed. A financial analysis of the cost per playable hour between natural turf fields and artificial grass fields was provided by Mr. Myers, and the conclusion was that artificial turf cost per playable hour is higher. Old business. Mr. Myers discussed the field fees and seasons, which will require a more detailed analysis and discussion with the backfield expansion project, various field maintenance procedures for the end of winter and spring, included the timing of turf blanket removal at each of the schools, and they were discussed by Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Myers. Mr. Zimmerman also discussed field maintenance procedures and applications. Mr. Drexel requested that the baseball clay infield be included in the annual maintenance procedures. New business included Mr. Myers' discussion of adjusting the field season usage dates to align with the NJSIAA season schedule, and other matters included Mr. Zimmerman discussing the current year-to-date revenue and Mr. Stars discussing expenses for the same period as well. Committee participants congratulated Mr. Drexel on his recent acceptance of a position as Millburn High School's vice principal, the timing and logistics of his transition from the current position of athletic director. The meeting concluded at 12 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Noel Bigman.
Thank you, Mr. Bigman. The NJSBA Liaison Report, Ms. Longley Richards.
Thank you. On Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, the Essex County School Boards Association met to review and vote on the resolution Protection of Students and School Communities from Civil Immigration Enforcement Activities. This proposal affirms that public schools must remain safe, inclusive environments and highlights the constitutional right of every child in New Jersey to a thorough and efficient education, regardless of immigration status. Present were members from the school districts of Bloomfield, Essex County Schools of Technology, Glen Ridge, Millburn, Montclair, Newark, Nutley, South Orange Maplewood, and West Essex Regional, as well as the Team Academy Charter Schools. Also present were the NJSBA members, representatives Robert Acera, Ray Pinney, and Dr. Paul Pinero. The discussion from the meeting minutes centered on the premise of the resolution and the necessity of its adoption at this time. Key points of the proposed policy include the core principle of maintaining public schools as safe, inclusive environments free from enforcement interference, the constitutional basis affirming New Jersey's guarantee of free public education regardless of immigration status, concerns of addressing how enforcement presence can deter attendance and disrupt family engagement, and the proposed position. We are encouraging the New Jersey School Boards Association to designate schools as sensitive locations and adopting policies that protect student privacy. After the discussion, the resolution was moved to a vote, and the vote was a unanimous yes. Next, this resolution will be submitted for the agenda of the May 16th, 2026 Annual Delegate Assembly to be considered for the NJSBA Manual of Positions and Policies on Education. The meeting adjourned at 7:24 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Cynthia Longley-Richards, NJSBA representative.
Thank you very much. And our next report is our student representatives. Mr. Reddy.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. First, I also want to take time to let members of our community know that the High School Musical will be this weekend. Performances will be on March 13th, 14th, and 15th, and it is always a great opportunity to see the incredible performances our students put on each year. Now for athletics. The winter season has ended, and spring sports officially began today. The Millburn boys ice hockey team captured the McMullen Cup championship after an impressive tournament run with wins over Bayonne and Oratory before shutting out Johnson in the finale. The boys basketball team finished a great season with a 2-point loss to South Plainfield in the Group 3 quarterfinals, ending the year with an impressive 23-5 record. Along with capturing the SEC Colonial Division title, senior Chase Plotkin became Millburn's all-time leading scorer. The girls' basketball team also concluded their impressive season in the state sectional semifinals, falling to Mendham and finishing the year with a strong 19-10 record. Both the boys and girls fencing team also had strong postseason performances, with the boys team capping off a great season, finishing ranked number 4 in the state. Finally, the wrestling team finished their season with an impressive win over Newark Academy, improving their record to 10-7 on the year. Thank you all, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much for that great report. And now we'll turn it over to our Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Connolly.
Thank you. Some highlights from Black History Month from around Millburn Township Public Schools. Across the district, students and staff celebrated Black History Month with lessons, read-alouds, and cultural experiences highlighting the contributions of Black Americans. Hartshorn School featured the digital read-alouds of May Among the Stars. Glenwood School explored diverse voices through multicultural dance, classroom read-alouds, and cross-grade I Have a Dream projects. At Deerfield and Wyoming schools, they focused on Dr. King, Rosa Parks, and the civil rights movement through lessons and student reflections. At the secondary level, Millburn Middle School hosted the cultural arts assemblies with Sankofa storytellers featuring folk tales and drumming, while Millburn High School offered a month-long of activities supported by teachers and the Black Student Union celebrating Black history and achievements, culminating with the career panel, which was rescheduled for March 13th, 2026 at 11 a.m. A full board presentation entitled One Millburn, Many Cultures will be presented at the Board of Education meeting on March 23rd, 2026. We look forward to highlighting the programs from around the district. This evening, we're happy to celebrate, and I do believe we have some of our National Merit finalists here today. So if I could ask those students to come forward as I read this announcement. More than 1.3 million students enter the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program by taking the PSATs and the NMSQT as juniors. Fewer than 1% of the U.S. high school seniors qualify as semifinalists. To become a finalist, students must submit a detailed scholarship application, demonstrate an outstanding academic record, receive school endorsement, and earn high SAT or ACT scores. Congratulations to all 16 MHS students named finalists in the 2026 competition, an exceptional achievement. Last fall, 16 Millburn High School student seniors were named as semifinalists and advanced to complete as finalists for the scholarship awarded this spring. Congratulations to our finalists.
Mr. Conley's coming.
I'm going to fill in for Sanjana, who's not here. She's at stage 2. I noticed her. You guys should have brought her here. Yes, you know.
What's that? I don't know. I should have saved that for last. Poor timing on me. Grading and assessment feedback from MHS students. Today, Mr. Nixon and I, along with members of the C&I team, met with a group of Millburn High School students to discuss the assessment and grading practices. The conversation focused on gaining a better understanding of students' experiences and with reteaching, test corrections, reassessment, and extension activities. The group of students represented students from grades 9 to 12 and courses ranging from CPB to CPA. As always, our students were thoughtful and articulate, providing valuable feedback that will help us to continue to refine and improve our implementation and practices. And not part of my report, but one of the stories that just came through from this was a student today that expressed that they were taking CPB classes and CPA classes, and this particular student had this year, because of the access created through a lot of the work that's been done, this student was in CPA, CPB, Excel, and AP courses. And I think it just kind of solidifies the work that we've done over the last 18 months to create access and give opportunity. Moving along, NJ GPA testing in grade 11. The high school will administer the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, otherwise known as the NJ GPA, to all juniors on Monday, March 16th through Tuesday, March 24th. There will be no testing on Monday, March 23rd. Students in grade 11 must take and demonstrate proficiency on the NJ GPA, which includes content aligned to the grade 10 New Jersey Student Learning Standards, otherwise known as the NJSLS in ELA and the NJSLS in Algebra 1 and Geometry. Pi Day, March 14th, is coming up. Pi is the mathematical constant used to numerically represent the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Our staff is excited to engage our students in several interdisciplinary activities to honor Pi Day. March 11th, early dismissal, which is a staff PD in the afternoon. Our upcoming professional learning day advances the district goal through collaborative planning and specialized training for all staff. The elementary teams will meet in building level professional learning communities, K-4 science program reviews, and the IMSE literacy training. Simultaneously, the secondary educators will continue their collegial work on assessment discussions. This comprehensive day ensures departmental alignment and enhance support for our students across all grade levels. Washington School Odyssey of the Minds Congratulations to the Washington School, which came in first place at the Skylands Odyssey Regional Odyssey Tournament held at High Point Regional High School on Saturday, March 7th. The team will now compete against other regional winners at the state finals. And this concludes my report. Respectfully submitted, John Conley. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone for sharing your reports, really highlighting all of the good work that's being done in the district to make sure that our kids have all the opportunities that are possible. If we could open it up to public comments now, please state your name and address for the record, and public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Well, that was Mr. All right.
Jeff Feld. Hello, my name is Jeff Feld. I live in a poet section. I've been now a baby, old guard. I just want to thank the presentation on Saturday that the Black Association had. It was a great lecture. I recommend that you maybe consider bringing this teacher to give lectures about the importance of Black history. I mean, because I know 2 of the members were here. The principal of the high school was there. I think it would be worthwhile, his 20, 30-minute presentation, how fruitful it was. This week is Civics Week. It wasn't mentioned by anyone. It's a national movement to teach civics and the importance of civics. In light of that, civics, I recommend that the community watch the Open Trust Fund meeting that occurred on Friday. It was 2 hours. That occurred after the reports, but one of the recommendations was that there be a cap on the amount of monies that could be used for the turf field project as it exists today, that they cap it no more than 25%. But during the discussions, there's some questions about flood mitigation be considered, making sure that we use the most modern technology as to turf fields, and maybe using the word acquisition. And because the way your agreement is a joint use agreement rather than a lease or a acquisition. If you use the word acquisition, you might be able to get monies from the open space programs from the county and the state. In addition, because the way the discussion went, and it's very important to watch the video, the environmental people were concerned about not preserving space, but if we need monies to fund it, maybe look at using the Oakley track as a source of another aspect of selling maybe a portion of that. Or I don't know, there's a little field that used to be a school, I don't know who owns that, doing like a sale leaseback to get more revenues to do the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Feld. I'd like to open the floor if any of our board members have anything to discuss about the action items coming up. Mr. Casson.
Just one quick comment. Thank you, Mr. Connolly, for mentioning Odyssey of the Mind. I just wanted to point out that we had 2 SMS teams, 4 Washington teams, and I believe 4 Glenwood teams that all advanced to states. So good luck at states, and hopefully they can make it their way to Worlds. So.
Thank you, Mr. Casson. Are there any other questions or comments about the action items? All right. So starting, may I have a motion and a second to approve instruction items 1A through 1D? Mr. Farashudin, Mr. Finkelstein? Any discussion? Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to approve personnel item 2A? Ms. Longley Richards, Mr. Bigman, Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Oops, sorry about that. Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Wong,
Yes.
Ms. Speltz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Dr. Diskin, would you like to say anything?
Yes, so tonight we have a lot to celebrate with our retirement or our retirees, a collective 105 years together. We recognize and appreciate the retirements of Miss Judith Greenstone, 25 years, Leslie Blitz, 25 years, Hillary Puglisi, 24 years, Dolores Avila, 19 years, and my beloved Rose Udlin, 25 years. So thank you all for your very service, and congratulations. We wish you a very wonderful retirement.
It's a little bittersweet. Happy for you and a little sad for me. So may I have a motion and a second to approve business items 3A through 3I? Mr. Bigman, Mr. Farashudin? Any discussion? Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Mr. Bigman,
Yes.
Mr. Casson,
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin,
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein,
Yes.
Ms. Wong,
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards,
Yes.
Ms. Shivani,
Yes.
Ms. Speltz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to approve Special Services Item 4A? Ms. Longley Richards? Ms. Shivani? Any discussion? Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Mr. Casson,
Abstain.
Mr. Farashudin,
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein,
Yes.
Ms. Wong,
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Bigman,
Yes.
Ms. Shivani,
Yes.
Ms. Speltz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to approve Policy Item 5A? Mr. Farashudin? Mr. Casson? Any discussion? Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Mr. Farashudin,
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein,
Yes.
Ms. Wong,
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Bigman,
Yes.
Mr. Casson,
Yes.
Ms. Shivani,
Yes.
Ms. Speltz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. And moving on, any old business? Any new business? Well, then let's open the floor back up to public comments. The same rules as before. Please state your name and address, and they're limited to 3 minutes. Okay, I will take that as a no. Let's see, any board member comments that we'd like to share? Mr. Casson?
Sorry, one last thing. I did have the pleasure of going to 2 of the Anastasia performances. They were quite wonderful, and it took a lot of work. Anastasia, if you don't know, is a very complex production. It takes a lot of hands, a lot of effort from a lot of people, and I just wanted to point out that there were, first off, everyone from students to administrators to teachers involved, but the parent involvement in that, it was a lot of burden put on a very small group of people, and it would be great if there was more parent involvement for future productions so we can continue our long trend of having phenomenal shows at the Millburn Middle School. So that's a plea to the community.
Thank you for sharing that. As a veteran of middle school musicals myself, I can tell you it's a heavy lift, but very worthwhile and great to be a part of. Any other comments? Ms. Wong?
Yeah, I just want to take this chance to emphasize the student safety, especially the mental health during these days. We know that we are in the pretty volatile times, especially for some immigration families. The law changes and also the market. So I'm very glad. In one of the items we talk about the close collaborations with our town partnership. So I just want to say it's pretty important, and we hope, especially in these times. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And we do have a very robust team in place who does a lot of work to ensure our students have every possible safety measure around them. Any other board comments? All right, then, yes, Ms. Shahani.
Yeah, just one quick, since I see Mrs. Coulter here, some of the students up there were your students. I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you. Thank you, will do, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, one more time. Any board member comments? Okay. Can I get a motion and a second to join the meeting? Mr. Farashudin, Mr. Bigman? All in favor? Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.